40. This video deals with the Great 40 in Majjhima Nikaya 117, Mahakadarasaka Sutta, whose descriptions are difficult to understand, requiring repeated thought and reflection. The presentation in this video is made to be easy to understand without changing the meaning, even though it still requires repeated full attention. Mahakadarasaka Sutta tells of when the Blessed One was staying at Savatthi in Yeda's Grove, Anathapindika's park. The Blessed One called the bhikkhus and said thus:
Bhikkhus, I will teach you right concentration and its support and requirements, namely, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness. One-pointedness of mind equipped with these 7 factors is called right concentration with its supports and equipment.
About views.
Bhikkhus, right view arises in the first place in one who understands wrong view as wrong view and right view as right view. Bhikkhus, wrong view holds that nothing is given, offered, being sacrificed. There is no fruit or effect of good and bad deeds. There is no this world, no other world, no mother, father. There are no spontaneously reborn beings. There are no good and noble ascetics and Brahmins in this world who have penetrated by themselves with direct knowledge and declared this world and the other world. Bhikkhus, right view is of 2 kinds, namely, there is right view which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and ripens in acquisition. And there is right view that is noble, undefiled, transcendental, a factor of the path. Bhikkhus, right view which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and ripens in acquisition, is that something is given, offered, sacrificed. There are fruits or consequences of good and bad deeds. There is this world and another world. There are mothers and fathers. There are beings who are reborn spontaneously. There are good and noble ascetics and Brahmins in this world who have penetrated by themselves with direct knowledge and declared this world and the other world. Bhikkhus, right view is noble, undefiled, transcendental, a factor of the path, namely, wisdom, the faculty of wisdom, the power of wisdom, the enlightenment factor of investigating conditions, the path factor of right view in one whose mind is noble, who his mind is spotless, possessing the noble path and cultivating the noble path. One's right mindfulness is, if one tries mindfully to abandon wrong view, mindfully enters upon and abides in right view. The 3 conditions that take place and revolve around right view are right view, right effort, and right mindfulness.
About will.
Bhikkhus, in one's right view comes first. That is to a person who understands wrong intention as wrong intention and right intention as right intention. Bhikkhus, wrong intention is volition of sensual desire, volition of hostility, and volition of cruelty. Bhikkhus, right intention is of 2 kinds, namely, there is right intention which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and ripens in acquisition. And there is the noble, taintless, world-transcending right will, a factor of the path. Bhikkhus, right volition is affected by the taints, connected with virtue, and ripe for acquisition, namely, volition for renunciation, without hostility and without cruelty. Bhikkhus, right intention is noble, taintless, world-transcending, a factor of the path, namely, thought, volition, absorption of thought, determination of mind, direction of mind, speech formation in one whose mind is noble, taintless, possessing the noble path and who cultivates the noble path. One's right effort is trying to leave wrong intention and enter right intention. One's right mindfulness is mindfully abandoning wrong intention, entering and staying in right intention. Thus the three states take place and revolve around right intention, namely, right view, right effort, and right mindfulness.
About speech.
Bhikkhus, in one's right view comes first. That is to one who understands wrong speech as wrong speech and right speech as right speech. Bhikkhus, wrong speech is lies, slanderous speech, harsh speech, and gossip. Bhikkhus, right speech is of two kinds, namely, there is right speech that is affected by the taints, connected with virtue, and ripened in acquisition. And there is right speech that is noble, taintless, transcendental, a factor of the path. Bhikkhus, right speech which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and matures in acquisitions as abstaining from lies, abstaining from slanderous speech, abstaining from harsh speech, and abstaining from gossip. Bhikkhus, right speech is noble, taintless, transcendental, a factor of the path, namely, cessation of the four kinds of wrong verbal conduct, abstinence, restraint, abstinence from wrong verbal conduct in one whose mind is noble, without blemish, has the noble path and who cultivates the noble path. One's right effort is trying to give up wrong speech and enter right speech. One's right mindfulness is mindful abandoning wrong speech, mindful entering and dwelling in right speech. Thus these three conditions take place and revolve around right speech, namely, right view, right effort, and right mindfulness.
About deeds.
Bhikkhus, in one's right view comes first. That is to someone who understands wrong actions as wrong actions and right actions as right actions. Bhikkhus, wrong actions are killing living beings, taking what is not given, and wrong conduct in sensual pleasures. Bhikkhus, right action is of two kinds, namely, there is right action which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and ripens in acquisition. And there is noble, taintless, world-transcending right action, a factor of the path. Bhikkhus, right action which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and matures in acquisition is abstaining from killing living beings, taking what is not given, and wrong conduct in sensual pleasures. Bhikkhus, right action is noble, taintless, transcendental, a factor of the path, namely, cessation of the three kinds of bodily wrong conduct, which abstinence, restraint, and abstinence from bodily wrong conduct in one whose mind is noble, whose mind is blemish, who has the noble path and who cultivates the noble path. One's right effort is trying to leave wrong actions and enter right actions. One's right mindfulness is mindfully abandoning wrongdoing, entering and staying in right action. Thus these three conditions take place and revolve around right action, namely, right view, right effort, and right mindfulness.
About livelihood.
Bhikkhus, in one's right view comes first. That is to someone who understands wrong actions as wrong actions and right actions as right actions. Bhikkhus, wrong livelihood is plotting, cajoling, hinting, belittling, pursuing gain for profit. Bhikkhus, right livelihood is of two kinds, namely, there is right livelihood which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and ripens in gain. And there is the noble, taintless, world-transcending right livelihood, a factor of the path. Bhikkhus, right livelihood which is affected by the taints, is related to virtue, and ripens in acquisition as this. A noble disciple gives up wrong livelihood and gains his livelihood by right livelihood. Bhikkhus, right livelihood which is noble, taintless, goes beyond the world. A factor of the path, namely, cessation from wrong livelihood, abstinence, restraint, abstinence from wrong livelihood in one whose mind is noble, whose mind is taintless. Who has the noble path and who cultivates the noble path? One's right effort is trying to leave wrong livelihood and enter right livelihood. One's right mindfulness is mindfully abandoning wrong livelihood, entering and staying in right livelihood. Thus these three conditions take place and revolve around right livelihood, that is, right view, right effort, and right mindfulness.
Big 40.
Bhikkhus, right view comes first. Therefore one who has right view, right intention arises. In one of right intention, right speech arises. In one of right speech, right action arises. In one of right action, right livelihood arises. In one of right livelihood, right effort arises. In one of right effort, right mindfulness arises. In one of right mindfulness, right concentration arises. In one of right concentration, right knowledge arises. In one of right knowledge, right liberation arises. Thus, the path of the disciple in the higher training has 8 factors, the arahant has 10 factors. Bhikkhus, right view comes first. Therefore one who has right view, wrong view is eradicated. And many unwholesome states originating with wrong view as condition are also eradicated, and many wholesome states originating with right view as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right intention, wrong intention is eradicated, and many unwholesome states originating with wrong intention as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right intention as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right speech, wrong speech is eradicated, and many unwholesome states originating with wrong speech as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right speech as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right action, wrong action is eradicated, and many unwholesome states originating with wrong action as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right action as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right livelihood, wrong livelihood is eradicated, and many unwholesome states originating with wrong livelihood as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right livelihood as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right effort, wrong effort is eradicated, and many unwholesome states originating with wrong effort as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right effort as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right mindfulness, wrong mindfulness is eradicated, and many unwholesome states originating with wrong mindfulness as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right mindfulness as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right concentration, wrong concentration is eradicated. And many unwholesome states originating with wrong concentration as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right concentration as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one of right knowledge, wrong knowledge is eradicated. And many unwholesome states originating with wrong knowledge as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right knowledge as condition come to fulfillment through development. In one possessing right liberation, wrong liberation is eradicated. And many unwholesome states originating with wrong liberation as condition are also eradicated. And many wholesome states originating with right liberation as condition come to fulfillment through development. Bhikkhus, there are 20 factors on the unwholesome side and on the wholesome side. This Dhamma discourse on the Great 40 has been replayed and cannot be stopped by any recluse or Brahmin, deity, Mara, Brahma, or anyone else in the world. Bhikkhus, if any recluse or Brahmin thinks that this Dhamma discourse on the Great 40 should be reproached and rejected, then there are 10 valid conclusions from their statements which provide grounds for reproaching them here and now. If the Venerable One denounces right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, right knowledge, and right liberation, respectively, then he will surely honor and praise the saint. Ascetics and Brahmins who have wrong view, wrong intention, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, wrong concentration, wrong knowledge, and wrong liberation. Bhikkhus, even the teachers of Okala, Vasa and Banya, who adhere to the doctrines of non-causation, the doctrine of non-action, and the doctrine of nihilism, would not think that this Dhamma discourse on the Great 40 should be reproached and rejected. Why? For fear of being blamed, attacked, and denied.
That is what the Blessed One said. The bhikkhus were satisfied and delighted at the Lord's words. Thus, this video presents the subject of the Great 40 in Majjhima Nikaya 117 Mahakatharasaka Sutta, which aims to make it easier to understand. Thank you to those of you who watched this video. See you again in another video on the channel. On YouTube. May you be healthy, have a long life, be happy, have lots of luck, love to do good, and are eager to live life with a peaceful heart. Namo tassa bhagavato
Wajib mustari da da da.